Welcome back to the Whatnauts Reactor Core. My name is Kyle Springer, and if I sound congested, it's because I'm recovering from COVID. But beyond that, I am here with Ignacio Rojas. Ignacio, how are you?
I am good, Kyle. I am good. It's good to feel good. To not feel
You
your
jerk. You
to not feel your
jerk.
body is supposed. Uh, yeah. So you got COVID. You finally got it.
Finally did. I have been infected. And speaking of infected, that is the name of episode 2
Hey.
of The Last of Us, which is what we are here to talk about and discuss. So yeah, I kind of want to jump right in with this one. What did you think about episode 2, Ignacio?
Oh, great. It was very great. Uh, I was a bit surprised with the beginning of the episode. I wasn't
Mm-hmm.
expecting for us to. I don't know if they're going to do this every episode where it starts with the past. It seems like it might
Yeah,
be because with the preview for the next episode, it also does seem to be there will be a part set not before not the pandemic, the outbreak,
sure.
but somewhere before the events of the show because we see Bill and Frank meeting.
Right.
So I was pleasantly surprised with that. I like with what they are doing with the world building of the pre-outbreak world and uh, how people reacted to it. Especially just that scene with the woman with the tea.
Mm-hmm.
What do we do? Bomb him,
Just blow it to
blow it
smithereens.
all up. That was
God,
very
yeah.
impactful, and then yeah, with the now in the present, we got some great stuff with the three of them, Joel, Tess, and Ellie, and I really enjoyed it.
Cool. Good stuff. Good stuff. Yeah. I liked that whole little vignette at the start. I am kind of hoping we get more of these things of
Hmm.
characters that are not necessarily involved in like the main story, but just like, here's someone who was studying fungus. Here's someone who works as like one of the first responders to like patient zero. What was that like? Who had to be the one to press the buttons to bomb Boston, right? Like, I want to know those stories. And I think they could do those like just real small, cold open. Like, here's that one scene where they have to be like, all right, here we go, bombs away, right?
Yeah.
Um, and yeah, that stuff I think will be super impactful. But I enjoyed that. I liked what we got so far of them traveling through the city on their way to the courthouse or wherever it was.
Yeah.
If you're a
City
fan of the
Court.
game, it's like City Hall or the
Yeah, I
courthouse or
think it's City
just
Hall. Yeah.
something like that. But if you're a fan of the games, most of this is pretty much what you've seen. There's not too much
Yeah.
that's different, except for one main thing that we kind of mentioned last week, with there not really being spores. Like,
Hmm.
spores aren't how people get infected. And they did introduce something new here in this one that I actually really like, and I think is a brilliant
Yeah.
move. This idea of like the roots underground of all of the fungus and stuff connecting and being able to transport information, uh, so that if a character just steps in the wrong spot, they can wake up a horde that's like a mile or two
Yeah.
away. And it's like, oh, there's a threat over that way. Let's go get them, right? And that's terrifying because, like, they think they're being quiet. They think they're doing everything right. And if they just step in that wrong spot, it's just like, now it knows. Um, which is, yeah, this is horrifying.
Yeah.
So,
This time I did watch the quote unquote making of the episode, and I like their reasoning as first why the spores aren't a thing. It's because it isn't very realistic the take that the game has where it is confined to one space.
right.
Spores
Yeah.
wouldn't behave like that. And then yeah, the idea of the how the fungus is interconnected. How in real life, yeah, fungi are or can be interconnected through all these webs underground, and I think that it is a very interesting take on it, and I wonder how much they will use it. I think that it was a bit underused in this episode, where you got the explanation of you get Ellie bringing up how they seem to be behaving like a
Hive
whole
mind.
unit, a hive
Yeah.
mind, yeah. And then you get the explanation, and when they get to the museum, you see Joel looking at the roots, or I don't know if you would call those roots, but the root like things
Sure. Yeah.
for the fungus, and being careful as to if they are alive, or in this case they are dried out. And then it comes up only then at the end, where you get the change from the game, where it isn't Fedra or the government going there to kill them, it is the zombies. And so I
Mhm.
wonder if it will be a bigger thing in the future, because I think it can be a bit difficult to do it, to do something like that, where you have to be careful as to where you touch, where you step on, not to step on one of those roots. uh so I
Right.
wonder
Yeah.
if they will fully commit to it, or if it will be something that occasionally comes up.
Yeah, because I mean, it like that's the thing is we don't know if it's gonna wake up an entire horde somewhere, or if they'll just be like, "All right, you three, go over that way," right? Or if because we know Joel and Nelly are gonna be traveling to the West Coast, like if they can read that, like, okay, this threat that we've identified is moving and is moving in this direction. Do we just send them all to the West Coast? There,
I
like
don't know if
it seems like they could just like I don't know,
yeah, but
just like
that
send them
seems
all on that side.
too much hive mind. I think that because
Well, that's
the way
yeah,
you're portraying it, it kind of feels like there is something wanting to kill them. Whereas I think
sure,
it
and
is more of a,
I
there's no
agree with you
mastermind.
that
It
it's
is more
not
of a tripwire.
necessarily. Yeah, I agree with you that it's not necessarily like one central intelligence that controls all of them, but I feel like it is like smaller pockets of that stuff, if that makes
Mm,
sense. But
yeah,
I guess who knows?
yeah.
We'll
We'll have to
see.
see. Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I really enjoyed that new addition. I think that's pretty cool. Um, that's the end of Tess. We
Yep.
we got to see her explode and get the kiss of death. What did you think of this this scene here at City
I,
Hall?
the scene is great. It is, as someone who played several times this part in specific, uh, I did find that there was a lot of parallel with the game. Several scenes were the same. Some dialogue was the same. I
Yep.
even knew, like, the part where Ellie figures out that she's infected. It kind of plays very similar to the game, where and it's like, no, wait, there has to be something. There has to be something. And then Ellie realizing it, and then Tess going, yeah, I'm infected. This is 3 weeks.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
like, as a fan of the game, I like the how close it is to, or how some scenes are so close to some great scenes in the game. And then yeah, the when the zombies appear, and then that makeout scene, if you can call it that, very creepy. I don't think it was necessary. On one side, I think it's creepy because it wasn't necessary to have a zombie make out with Tess. It is kind of a bit weird, and then it is also creepy because those tendrils or things growing inside these zombies is very unnerving. That's
Yeah.
another thing that is new to the show, that they showed at the beginning of the episode. Man, that's creepy and unnerving. Ugh.
Tess had her first date with a zombie, and you know what? I think
Yep,
he was a pretty fun guy. So, but
I'm out. I'm
anyways,
out.
no, I liked that we got to stay with Tess, right? Because in the game, obviously you control Joel. And so
Yeah.
when they run, like you leave and you don't really see what happens to Tess. You just kind of assume that she dies.
You can see it, but you are up in the second
Right,
floor.
you're up on
seeing
like that
above.
rafter that
Yeah,
there. So
and you
you, I
can
mean,
see them coming in and shooting her.
you piece out, but I
You
like
piece
the
it, yeah.
idea that the scene instead stayed with Tess, and that we got to see her and just her just trying her damnedest to get that lighter on, and that sucks too, to like see
Yeah.
them all walking past and you're just like, fuck, no, shit, God
You have this
damn it,
whole
come on.
plan.
Right?
You're
Yeah.
gonna sacrifice yourself, go out in a blaze of glory,
Like
and
you
then
would think
that
she would at
damn
least
lighter
have
won't
one of
turn on.
the grenades in her hand and just
Yeah.
use that
I thought
instead.
that she could have shot one of the grenades, or just shoot at something.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah,
But
the lighter scene made it more tense.
yeah, I liked that. The kiss was weird,
Yeah.
though. The makeout session was strange. But yeah, I mean that's the end of her. So
Yep.
there you go.
That's the last of her.
Here's a question that I want to ask. So when this adaptation got announced, there were some people that were like, hell yeah, sweet, this is one of my favorite video games. And then there's some people who are like, does this really need an adaptation? It's already so cinematic. And one of the things that you and I have expressed in this so far is that we like those scenes that are like shot for shot what was in the game. But I think that also backs the people up that were like, do we really need an adaptation of this? It's just the same thing in the game. So how do you feel about that and these shots that are like the exact same thing?
I mean, yes and no. You can say that it is unnecessary because we already have the story. The story has been told in a great way, but you also have to. Not everyone plays video games, or not everyone can play video games. I'm sure you can give a controller to anyone, and not everyone is gonna be able to deal with something as basic for us that play games as
we're just
walking and
interested,
looking.
right?
Or even that, but even if someone were interested, you do have that barrier of having to use a controller, having to control someone while also looking. For a lot of people, that's hard. I know that for us it is second nature, but for a lot of people that's hard. And so because of that, and because the story of The Last of Us is so good, again, my favorite game of all time, I do like that there is now a way for people to experience that same story in a medium that is not as restrictive as video games. And again, as a fan, I do like to see, because I know how great the game is. I like that they are doing the same scenes, because if you are going to do something, you should do something great, and you already have something great. So what?
Right? Yeah.
If you're gonna do something great, there is a way to do something great. The game already did it. And also, as a fan, you have that other thing of, like we already talked, the show can now add more things into the story that we already know.
Yeah.
And so while it isn't strictly necessary, I'm glad that it's happening.
Yeah, it's an interesting thing, because there are some of those scenes that I'm just like, man, like that would have been the moment the button that said like hit L3 to look, right? Yeah. Right, and you get to look out at the Capitol. Like that would have been that moment. And they say the exact same thing, and it's neat because like I've lived that experience before. But then I like that they also are playing with my expectations, and they are changing smaller things that might end up being something bigger down the road. Like I like when they get to that one hotel with the water in the floor, and Ellie's sitting there like, oh, guys, I can't swim, and then Joel just like jumps off, and it's like up to his knees. He's just like, you'll be fine, and then like walks away, right?
That was a nod to that.
Yeah, it's a nod to that.
All
You
those
have
times
to like
where you have to
get her on a platform and carry her over and stuff like that. Which to be honest, I would, if they do it once.
Yeah,
I think it would be kind of funny. But beyond that, like I can see one of them being like, never again. Like I'm not carrying you over.
Yeah,
I liked the big plank that was across the
definitely.
rooftops there. Like they have so many neat things in there
Yeah,
for the people that have played the game. I think an adaptation like this is still fun. It's
yeah,
I know that this is a heavy taxing story, right? Like it's emotionally a lot. And so I can understand people not wanting to watch it because of that and be like, man, I have already been through all of that stuff. But yeah, just these little small details here and there. It's just like, this is so cool. I like this.
yeah.
So I am having a blast.
Going back to that scene in the hotel, uh, I really like how Bella Ramsey can capture the spirit of Ellie. You get that scene where she just walks up to the front desk and just starts playing with the bell
Ding,
and
ding, ding. Yeah,
acting like she is coming into the hotel, and you know that that's something Ellie would do in the game. And I like that
absolutely.
they
Yeah,
were able to translate something like that, where in the game it would be something that you would hear while looking for resources, and you have her in the background. I like that they were able to adapt something like that, some aspect of Ellie's personality like that, that they were able to capture it in the show.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. I think that's a good point. Last thing I want to kind of comment on the clickers. This is our
Yeah.
first like major look at the clickers. What did you think of them?
Oh, that whole scene was great. I again going back to the parallels to the game, I like how even something like this is very much a parallel to the game, where in the
Mm-hmm.
game you have that scene in a museum where it is very close to the scene where you get Joel being separated from Tess and Ellie. You get
Right.
that you
Yeah.
have to walk around the clickers. And I like that even with a scene like this where it is all tense, that even then they can do such a great parallel to the game. But even just sticking to the scene and its own merits, it was very great. It achieved what everything that it had to achieve. It was very tense.
Oh
The
yeah.
clickers were very well portrayed, and it was great. I have nothing bad to say about it.
Cool. Cool. Yeah. I liked when they got in the museum and the floor falls out behind them, blocking the door. Immediately, I was like, "Oh, this is a dungeon encounter.
Yeah,
Like you have to beat the
yeah,
boss to open up the thing, right?" Yeah, I thought that was great. I thought the clickers looked fantastic.
mhm,
In that behind the scenes thing after the credits, they did say like we tried like hundreds of like different variations, but we just kept coming back to the original look that they had
yeah.
made in the game. Uh, and man, they look so good. They look incredible. They sound incredible. If I'm not mistaken, I think they got some of the same people to like either act for them or like do the voice acting, make the sound stuff. I'm not sure exactly
Yeah,
what.
I heard something like that.
Yeah, but man, they like it that scene was just so intense to have them all separated, to have them all get hurt and stuff like that, and to see Joel just trying to fist fight that thing. Just one of them was just like, oh my god, like that guy is relentless. Um,
Yeah,
so yeah, I'm. It's gonna be wild to see what happens down the road when we start running into more Fedra soldiers or more bandits out on the road or more of these clickers in a larger pack. And I like how they allowed to some of the bloaters to the
yeah,
big ones that had been longer that spray out these spores and stuff like that. That was neat. So yeah, I'm absolutely loving the show still. I'm excited for what's to come, and I'm excited to meet Bill and see him and Frank and see what they were up too. And like you said, it looked like we're gonna get some of them before the outbreak, or like right as it started, and like things started to go to shit, right? And him and Joel are like, all right, look, you need to protect your space here. There's going to be zombies. There's going to be raiders. There's going to be God knows what.
It's going to be interesting seeing the whole Bill and Frank dynamic, because you do not see that in the game. You only get you get told that Frank was Bill's friend, or part of, at least, that they had a fallout, and then you get the whole scene at the end where you find him that he hanged himself. So it's gonna be interesting to actually see them as a couple or as a duo.
Yeah. We'll see. We'll see what they do with that, but I am looking forward to it. Do you have any other kind of final thoughts that you want to put up here?
No. Just the show so far is great.
Hell yeah. Good stuff. Well, that is it for our reaction to episode 2 of The Last of Us. Ignacio, where can the people find you on the internet?
They can find me on Twitter at IgnaciorojasB. That's IGNACIOROJASB.
There you go. Before I do my social media stuff, just a quick note that this is number 99 of the Whatnauts Reactor Core. So we will have a special celebration for episode 100 up here in the near future. Of course, we will be back next week with our reaction to more of The Last of Us as well. So be on the lookout for all of that good stuff. But you guys can find me at YoKyleSpringer on all the social media stuff. If you'd like to stay up to date with us here at the Whatnauts, we are at the Whatnauts. So please go like, share, and subscribe. That would help us out a ton. If you're on the YouTube version of this, go check out some of our other videos right over there. That would help us out even more. And we will see you all next time. This has been number 99 of the Whatnauts Reactor Core. We will see you all next time. Bye.
Bye.